are go for liftoff in T-minus 30.
Please stand by.
Operators are standing by.
You're gonna be okay, kid. You're gonna be okay.
It's almost over, Nathan. We're halfway through The Wolf Among Us. Man, do you remember that? Do you remember them days when Telltale were a joke?
I never played the games back then, but I always heard not so great many things about them.
What? Well, back in the day, they were a bit of a joke. But do you remember when The Walking Dead first launched back in 2012?
I remember where I was.
You remember where you were, man?
Yeah, I don't remember exactly, but I was in front of my TV, with my Xbox 360. Shit, I don't play that thing anymore. But anyway.
Good.
And I just downloaded The Walking Dead episode 1, and because there was this big hype about it, it was like, oh yeah, and I thought, yeah, okay, I like the show, I think we was at season 2. No, I'm probably wrong about that. Probably in season 3. I don't know.
We were at season. No, you're correct. We were at season 2.
Well, at any point, I remember when that game came out. That was when the Walking Dead was good last. But that's a different podcast entirely. But yeah, man, that game just blew me away, and it was one of the best games of its year. It really was, if not the best.
I think it's I think it's the very best game of its year because it was one of the few games that showed that story does matter over over the top action or over the top gameplay, and and Walking Dead. I started watching the game before I played the game before I watched the show, and people might be asking, why are you talking about Walking Dead for? That's because the people who made that brilliant game also made this, The Wolf Among Us,
which is based on Fable's comic book series by Bill Willingham. Sorry,
yes,
Bill.
yeah.
I can't remember what you said.
Bill Willingham, yeah.
Willingham, yeah.
I haven't read I haven't read them.
I read the first issue, which is, makes me want to go and buy it, but, man's only got so much money. Man's only got so much time.
Well, we quickly just some of it. Episode 1, really loved it. I think it's a better introduction. I think it's a better introduction to this universe than Walking Dead season 1, episode 1 was.
Yeah, definitely.
I think episode 1 was brilliant.
It was. I remember first playing it, and I remember. Did I die? Did I play it first, and then I said to you?
You played it. You played it. I think a few months before I did.
That was it, because you was waiting for it to. That was it, because you was waiting for the season to come out, and then.
Yeah, and I was like, I can't wait
anymore. And then you finally just craved in and was like, I need Telltale. Give me Telltale. Because you was waiting for that season. That's it. You was waiting for that season 2 of Walking Dead to drop, and it didn't drop. Telltale they were teasing you, like there's no tomorrow, and then finally caved in, and you're up to date on it now. Like you play when it comes out.
Well, this is the thing. I mean, and this is why Telltale pissed, because I won't hide from it. For everyone who's watched these podcasts, I don't hide from the truth. I like to speak the word.
He seeks it.
Telltale pissed me the fuck off with this game, because they took, what was it, 5 months to make an episode 2? I don't give a shit if you dropped Walking Dead in between then. It took you 5 months. I will admit, I lost interest in this game between episode 1 and 2.
I remember I was like, Dale, it's okay. We've got so many games. You got a PlayStation 4, which you ain't playing.
Yeah, but that's the equivalent. That's the equivalent to not having one. There's no difference. It's like, well, I've got one. It looks nice, and
which you bought just for Watch Dogs, and it didn't come out.
Man, the best game. The
that's
best
a
game on
different
the
podcast
PS4.
entirely.
Well, I'll just say this now: the best game on the PS4 was Last of Us, and that's not even a PS4 game. But episode 2 came out, Smoke and Mirrors. I think easily the worst. I mean, not the worst. The weakest episode of the series, but easily a great episode as well.
That's like my favourite episode,
Oh, is it?
Well, I think so. I'm kind of tired because number one was like so good,
Mm.
to set it up. But
It opens the world a lot more. Episode 2 does.
yeah, and I'm going to apologise, obviously, because we've only started the podcast recently. We're not going to go back and review episode 1 and 2 because most of you will probably have played it anyway.
Hopefully, if you haven't, then go play it, man.
But yeah, we're just going to jump into number 3, so I do apologise for that.
And I don't know. I think there will most likely be spoilers ahead for this episode because it is a smaller episode, and it's really hard not to spoil things at this point. With these, when an episode is like 2 hours long, it's hard to kind of be beat around the bush with it. So I would say, just in case, just stay away from this review until you finish episode 3. Most of you probably have already. But
Yeah, so I mean,
for those,
press pause or subscribe, and then come back after
But
you've caught up and whatnot.
But for those of you for those of you who haven't played it yet, I will say this: episode 3, in my opinion, is the best episode of Wolf Among Us. So yeah, definitely play it. But just pause this and go play episode 3. And for everyone who has played the episode, well, welcome to the podcast of fun.
Welcome on board.
My name is Dale Downton.
And my name is Nathan Heskey.
This is the very first game podcast we've ever done. A great time to be a Dale Downton, in my opinion. Episode 3, A Crooked Mile. It dropped a few days ago. I got it on the day it came out, and already finished it. I would say this, in my opinion, the best episode of the show of the season.
It might as well be a
so
show. Why isn't this not a
yeah.
show?
You could take out the decision things, and it could be a spiritual show. But yeah, this is the best episode of the show of the season so far for me. I know people are going to disagree with that, but I thought this was an amazing experience. What about you, Nathan?
I don't think it's the best one,
No.
but it has got some of the best moments.
Yeah, damn right, making me wolf out right now.
getting that Bigby, getting your Bigby on. I think probably number one's probably my favorite, just because it introduced me to the world and it made me like, oh, I've got to get the comics someday because I fell in love with the characters straight away and everything in it. And it was a great take on these fairy tale characters and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
But this was a brilliant episode. It had a bit of a weak middle, which I'll come on to later. But it has the best introduction and the best ending of the whole season so far. I've got to say that. And what it sets up is really rather exciting.
Well, for those of you who are still here and who have played episode 1 and 2, the episode 2 ended with Bigby finding out that Ichabod Crane had been the man who was using Lily as a prostitute, posing as a Snow White, and that's how episode 2 finished. A great cliffhanger. Episode 3 opens up with Bigby after Crane. Crane has gone into hiding, and after a brief conversation with Beauty, you end up in the actual office. No, it's not in the. You look for Snow. Sorry, my apologies. You're looking for Snow.
Just jumping ahead, you are, isn't it?
No, you come to Lily's funeral, Holly's sister. In my opinion, this is probably apart from the ending, this is the best scene in the entire episode for me. I found this to be a really tense moment in the episode.
It was just a great way to open the episode because it just got you right in the action.
Yeah. I think because these characters are really the filth, I guess, of the woodlands. But you kind of feel bad for Holly and Gren and all these characters, and I don't know. And I try and be reasonable with a lot of characters. You know what I mean? I am really a sympathetic character, and there comes a point where Holly said to me, said to Bigby, she says, "Don't you go causing trouble," and I was like, "I won't." And the minute she said that, I knew something was gonna bloody happen. And what happens? Tweedledee and Tweedledum show up with a goddamn shotgun, man. Look like the Cray twins. And they've got these shotguns, and this big fight ensues where Holly gets shot, Grant gets shot, I get shot, man, everybody gets shot. Man, they shoot themselves at one point. Everyone's getting shot. Man, this is the Red Wedding. This is the Wolf Among the Red Wedding. And well, I won't go that far. Man, but
you had to drop a Game of Thrones reference in there.
but that was a brilliant opening, man. I have to admit that apart from the ending, that's the best scene of the episode for me. What about you? What did you think of that opening?
Well, for a change, right? Because usually, whether it be TV or film, and you have that introduction to the whole thing, and I just loved it walking through because it was like under a highway, and going to the
Mhm.
funeral, and Snow was doing the kind of eulogy, and then
Yeah.
it's like you had the choice to flip in, interrupt it, because obviously you want to protect her and her life's in danger,
Mhm.
and then like you could just walk over to the little table, and there's the these cards that have got all these messages to the dead troll,
Yeah.
to Lily.
The dead troll.
Yeah,
Generalization.
I just remembered the name. But man, as soon as Tweedledum and Tweedledee showed up, and then Holly just I mean, because she's mourning at the death of her sister,
Mhm.
and she just trolls out like the Hulk at the big scene at
Man.
the end of Avengers, and then
Yeah, man.
Gren loses it and flipping he's Grey Hulking and shit, and then you know big my Bigby, like he's like I'm trying to stop it. I'm getting in between. I'm like, look, you better like calm down because someone's gonna get shot down, and
Calm your asses
someone's
down.
someone's gonna die at a funeral, and that's just a joke within a joke. Um, and then everything goes crazy. Gren jumps up, gets shot down. He's foul, and
I thought
then
he was dead.
I thought literally everyone was dead. Holly got shut down, Bigby gets shut down, and then it just cuts straight into the title credits, and I'm like, what the hell just happened? You know,
Hmm.
um, and just a brilliant way to get you into episode 3. Just
Hmm.
and you just I'm just sitting there with the controller, and I'm just like, shit.
And then following on from the from that brilliant opening, we had this office scene. Bigby's getting patched up. He's told, don't do any, don't do what you fucking usually do, Bigby. You need to calm the fuck down. And I'm like, yeah, okay. And then I'm having this conversation with Snow, and Snow has the nerve. She has the balls to turn to me and say, "Do you enjoy it when things go bad?" Like you said, but I'm usually nice to Snow White, man. I want some of that Snow White ass. Bigby, I want Bigby to get laid. But nah, Snow White. So sometimes when you're a bitch, you gotta get. When you're a bitch, you're a bitch. Bigby turns around and says, "Man, fuck you, Snow." He doesn't say that, but it was the equivalent. And he gets angry at Snow. And I haven't seen this side of Bigby before, man. Even though it's my Bigby. And my Bigby surprised me. I'm like, shit, man. I want to get Bigby laid, but Snow, you're being a bit of a bitch. But and that's where one of my problems with Snow White comes in, and that is it doesn't feel regardless of what decision I make, it doesn't feel like my relationship with Snow is changing one bit.
Yeah, it seems like this automatic reaction that you would kind of get with whatever you answered.
Mm-hmm.
Do
It
you know
feel
what I mean?
it feels like I get a new response, but the relationship as a whole stays the same, and that's a problem with me because it feels like either way, Bigby's either getting laid or isn't. I want to help Bigby out, man. I'm like a wingman with Bigby, but I'll just wish the game made me feel like there was a bit more of a change going on when it comes to Snow White, and also I don't know if this is probably the character. I don't know if you have this as well. Snow White, Snow White will get on my fucking ass about being violent, but when she does it and I criticize her, she's like, well, I'm the one calling the shots.
Yeah, that
Hmm.
comes to another part later on in the episode. I know what you
I'll get
mean.
to that. I'll get to that particular part later. But this is the scene where you have to choose where you want to get your clues from. I don't know. What did you choose? Where did you choose to go? You can go to either the bar, Hardy's bar, Crane's apartment, or Dum and D's area. What part did you go to?
See, I was just getting confused because flipping too much was going on at the time. Like, Bluebeard shows up and he's like, "Well, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do this," and then Snow's like, yeah. So I felt like Bigby. I was
Doesn't
like,
show up for the rest of the episode neither.
well, yeah, exactly. And then Bigby's like, uh, I just felt like Bigby because Bigby's just in the middle and he's just a wolf and he just wants to get the job done.
Mm.
And so I went to Crane's apartment, um, which was I'm glad I chose it because you get to bump into Jack again.
Oh, I didn't choose that particular option, so I didn't bump into anyone that you went into.
Oh, okay, fair enough. But it was great kind of bumping into Jack because you got to meet him in the last episode when you got to go to the Trip Trap to see Holly,
Mhm.
and Jack's that kind of wisecrack, witty character, and it was great because they tied in the whole Jack's fairy tale where he goes up the beanstalk and he steals from the giant and
Yeah.
everything because he's in Crane's house, flipping just stealing his shit, like,
Mhm.
and you have to.
Just a thief.
But he's a good one, and it's kind of he's like, that anti-hero kind of
Mhm.
vibe, and my Bigby just grabs him, and you actually get some really good information from him, which leads you to the witch. So obviously I know you chose a different option.
Well,
But obviously it leads you to the. I'm guessing it leads you to the same place.
well, I chose the bar. And the bar doesn't actually get you anywhere closer. I don't know about you, but the bar didn't get me anywhere closer to the objective.
Oh,
But I got to speak to Gren. And I do like Gren as a character. I really like Gren as a character, and I always try to kind of get a bit closer to him, get a bit closer to them than Phil. But it was good to see the Woodsman again. I really like the Woodsman as a character. But the highlight of that, aside from the very funny thing that Gren won't remember the events of that night. I don't know if you had that. I don't know because I don't know if you have the options. I know not for the signs, but there's a conversation between you and Holly, and Holly
that
just
was brilliant.
and Holly just says, "Do you actually care about us? And why are you doing this case?" And I felt the pain of that character in that one question, and I was just like, "Fuck you! I'm not doing this for you." No, I wasn't like that really, but I was like, I straight up said, I'm doing this for Lily because I like to be that I want to be that sheriff who is all around likable.
Yeah.
How did you? Cause I know you went to the bar. How did you? What was your experience with there? Because that must have been the place where you found out what was going on.
Well, I went there just after going to Crane's apartment because Snow showed up as she does, and so I went to the Trip Trap, and you know, Gren's getting drunk
Mhm.
and everything, and then there's this showdown between Gren and the woodsman because the woodsman was basically sleeping with Holly's sister, who was a prostitute and was the troll that was killed.
Mhm.
Uh, and that was a great thing. But the funniest thing is that I knew this already because I've got two saves, so I've been playing different things and making all different choices. So it was kind of funny. Like I was kind of like, oh well, I know this already, but it was still effective even though I
Mhm.
knew it already. But it was great going into the back room where Holly is asleep, and you're trying to get Lily's uh, like flipping.
Get notes and stuff.
Yeah, there's a word for it, but I can't remember what it's called.
I had to get
Um,
her book, a book of appointments.
yeah, that's right. But it was brilliant having the conversation with Holly because she asked you that question of so who are you? Who are you doing this for? And then you had like the option of doing it for Lily,
Faith.
Faith, or I can't remember what that third option was.
It wasn't
Oh
for
no,
the
no,
third
it was
option.
something like I've got a history with this killer,
Yeah, that's it.
and I automatically chose Faith. Like I didn't even like it was just
Oh, really?
well. The funniest thing, I did it like just automatically, and it took. And I actually was like, oh shit, no, I shouldn't have chose that. And then I was like, no, actually, because that episode one, I like Faith's character. You know what I mean?
How did Holly react to that? Because I said Lily.
Well, the cool thing was she said to me, well, sorry to Big. I'm getting in the game now, but
But you are Bigby at this
I
point.
am Bigby. And she said, well, at least you're being honest. But and then she said, like, just whatever you're doing this for, don't let me down. And it was such a touching moment because she was so vulnerable because of the drugs and everything she was under
Mhm.
from the doctor. And it was just like, oh man, and that's one of the themes I loved in this episode was you're getting to see everyone's true nature, and like everyone was questioning Bigby, saying, "You don't care about us. Like, why the
Mhm.
hell are you doing this for?" And everyone was saying it, and I just wanted to go out there and really prove, as playing through Bigby, that I did care about the Fable community. It wasn't just, because Holly says it. She says, "You only care about the high up ones, your friends,"
Mhm. Yeah.
and which isn't true because I really am getting connected to these characters, and it's rare in a video game that you do. You know, I mean, even like I like characters like Toad, who he's like a complete dick.
Hmm.
I still, you know, care about the character, and even like Georgie Porgy as well. He's a great ass character. He really is, but he's still a dick.
Well, the one option you didn't choose was the Dumb and D apartment, and
Yes.
that's what I found out about what's going on, and
Oh, okay.
I got to meet Flycatcher there as well. Um, and eventually I found out what was going on. It's that's the one scene that did feel kind of tedious. It did feel like I was just going around clicking random buttons, waiting for one of the options to be the right one. I would have preferred it. I don't know. I would have preferred it if I only had a limited amount of options I could have picked before the times ran out. Because it feels like no matter what I do, I am going to find out who it is and blah blah blah. I don't. There didn't feel like there didn't feel like there was a rush, which I think that's what I was kind of missing from this portion of the episode. But I found out who it is, and then it comes to one of the most interesting part of the episode. You get to confront the witch,
Oh, that was a good moment.
posing as a kid at one point, and that is a beautiful. That's a really cool scene as well, because you get to see this completely other side of the woodlands and the fables.
Yeah.
What happened to you in that scene? What happened with you in that scene?
Well, I had a feeling as soon as I opened the door, and there's just brilliant back and forth between Bigby and the little girl
Hmm.
who opened the door, and I had a feeling that she was the witch. I had
Same.
this thing, but it didn't spoil it that I kind of already guessed it, because when you're going around and you're trying to look for clues and everything, and then she finally you open up the wooden talisman thing, and
Hmm.
you know she pops out of the little girl, and she's, oh, I'm the witch. You shouldn't have done that. Blah blah blah.
But there is a mythical thing going on there.
Yeah.
Beyond her. There is something beyond her going on, as you can hear. Whenever Bigby does think crazy in that room, there's this massive, almost earthquake-like reaction,
Yeah.
and that subtly opened up a whole new area of the fables and the mythology of it all.
Well, that's what was brilliant, because another great thing that this episode did, and it's been doing since episode 1, it's been foreshadowing the witches and the wizards on the 13th floor of the the the, the, the business building thing
Mhm.
where they were, and so because I didn't destroy the tree
Me neither.
I hired her to work with those witches and wizards, because they'd be able to keep an eye on her, and she'd be able to make more glamours for the fable community. And I just thought it was a great character, and it just made me think. I really hope, with whatever happens with the rest of this season, that we get another season, and we look at another part
Yes.
of the world and stuff. Because there's so many things you could do.
I'd like to meet some of the Mondays. So, by the way, the Mondays for everyone is the normal humans.
The,
I'd like to have
the mundane people.
yeah, the mundane people who review their actions. Um, we I want to see a bit of action with them. Well, I reckon we're going to get it by the end of the season, but this is where Snow White started. I started to lose that need to bang Snow White because, firstly, she gets angry. Like, and the side of Snow White I haven't seen it before. Snow White wants to burn this tree down. This tree is obviously a source of her powers.
Yeah.
She wants
Well,
to
it's
burn.
just so it's our income
Yeah, yeah,
more than
yes.
anything.
And she wants to burn it down and ruin her life, and she's getting angry. And I'm like, okay, I actually do agree, but I'm not burning this shit down. And this leads me to a problem which comes in the next scene where Snow White, whenever I get angry, Snow White likes to be a bitch and tell me about it. But it's okay for man, just women. But the next scene, we walk into the to the strip club, and Georgie's standing right there, and I would run up and punched him in the face.
See, I had some restraint. Purely, the only reason I had restraint was because the doctor said to take it easy because of the stitches. So I was trying to be a bit more of I guess like a democratic type.
I couldn't do it.
Well, not a democratic. That was probably the wrong word. Like a more of a pacifist type player, I guess, without the violence.
I would if he didn't have. He has his voice and he has this way he acts.
He's a dick.
And I walk in and he's just shouting his mouth. I'm like, nah, you know what? I didn't hit you last episode. I'm gonna fuck you up. Punch him in the face. Walk in and Crane's there, holding the mermaid, I forgot what her name is, but and he's
Narissa, is it?
yeah, there's a and Crane's been busted. Crane in many different ways. Crane's caught.
And he's.
Crane's
I love how he cowers
yeah,
into the corner of the room.
Crane is cornered and Crane has lost. And I'm like, yeah, we caught the guy. We caught you, you son of a bitch. Snow White is getting angry, and in one of the most restrained moves, I got Bigby to slap Crane. Not even
He
punch.
got one
I
of
actually,
those imp slaps.
he got slapped and his cheek went red for the rest of the episode. And then, and I can only Snow's shouting at Crane, and I say to him, "You're lucky it wasn't just me here." And Snow, that little bitch, turns around and says to me, "You need to control yourself. You're the sheriff, but I'm the one running things." And I'm just thinking, man, okay, maybe I was a bit pussy whipped before with Snow White, but not anymore, man. This bitch doesn't know what she wants.
That's
And
the
then,
cool thing because there's a bigger picture now. Because I had that thing where like you wanted to have that loyalty towards Snow,
mhm,
but now it's kind of like, and it's
she,
weird.
she gets more, she's getting more deep into it and more emotionally unstable than we are as Bigby.
Exactly, and it's like you see the bigger picture, and it's like it's not just about Snow anymore. It's actually about the whole community and what's doing, best for all the fables.
Mhm. And this comes up. So this is one of the best, probably the probably the best scene of the entire in the entirety of this entire season, in my opinion.
Okay, just before we get onto that, to close off the episode, I wanted to mention there is two things that really I thought were great moments, and it
Okay, yeah.
kind of explored the world a bit more.
Hmm.
One of these is earlier on in the episode where uh, you're trying to fix the mirror,
Oh yeah.
right? And you got Grufkin, who's the
Mhm.
flying monkey who helps around the office and that.
I love that character.
And the reason that he kind of didn't stop Crane and everything, or know what was going on because he was drunk. I thought that was just really funny. This flying monkey's getting
He's a very funny character,
he's
but
got a hangover and he's
I do show sympathy to him though.
yeah, no, he is. He's that very sympathetic character. But the other moment, which this was probably one of the funniest moments for me, is when you're looking through Crane's desk
Hmm.
and you're going through his letters, and there's these letters that have been sent in from fables that are having problems. And one of the letters is from Boy Blue,
Hmm.
who's a little fairy tale character, and he says, "When is the air conditioning going to be fixed in our apartment? Because Pinocchio is starting to splinter because it's getting too hot." And I thought, Jesus Christ, I want to see where's Pinocchio at. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
And I just thought it just opened the world a bit more, showing these different characters.
Well, they had something similar to that in the Dumb and Dee apartment,
I did that.
but I can't remember these because obviously I'm not as into the fables as you are.
Yeah.
But I'm pretty sure if I remember, they brought up Cinderella in one of the files,
Oh, okay.
and that was kind of just like, oh, I like that. That's cool. That is like there are still, and I'm glad. I hope these characters don't get. I hope these characters like Pinocchio don't get introduced until season 2, because
Oh yeah. Hopefully there is a season 2.
I want to come into the next season if there is one, still having them new characters I can meeting Pinocchio, meeting Cinderella, meeting the dwarfs as well if they are like.
Well, yeah, I mean, there's loads. There's like Goldilocks as well, and Prince
Yeah,
Charming, and
I forget about
there's
all
so
these
many
characters.
characters, and like Snow White's sister,
Mhm.
Rose Red. Um,
So I forget about all these characters, and this is the reason why this ending really shocked me because the particular character that's introduced, I didn't even know was a part of this.
Neither did I.
I was like, what? They're walking through the alleyway, and they get cornered. Tweedledee and Tweedledum step out with shotguns, man. The Cray twins
Yet
step out with
again.
shotguns, and then a woman steps out. I'm like, where the fuck is this?
But you know,
Bloody.
before you know who she is, you know she's a
Okay,
badass.
man, she got them boots, man.
She's walking like a badass.
She got a revolver, man. Like this is the Rick Grimes of Wolf Among Us, and it's Bloody Mary. And I ain't saying it's Mary and that's a bloody good thing. It's bloody motherfucking Mary, and she is scary. And I'm just like, I didn't. I would never have guessed this character would ever be introduced in this particular thing. I didn't even know she was a part of Fables.
I didn't know she was a fairy tale.
And then, and they want Crane, and the thing is, she isn't the main villain either. She's just the hitman. There's still the crooked man who is sitting in the car.
Yeah.
and we haven't even met him yet. That's brilliant. And in one of the best moments, man, Bigby gets shot down with them
See,
shotguns.
I thought I didn't move out at the time. Move out in
I
time.
tried as well, and it.
See, I thought because I was writing a note down at the same time,
Mhm,
and it suddenly come up, and I thought, shit, game over.
mhm,
And it was kind of like that Batman Arkham Asylum moment where
yeah.
the Joker shoots you, and then it's like game over.
Mhm.
I was like, no, Biggie, and then boom, it's Godzilla moment, man, but like a wolf.
It turns into the. You've seen half of a wolf. You've seen Bigby in his kind of like, yeah, I'm kind of wolfing out. But now this is Bigby losing control, and I felt that loss of control, and all the anger I've had for characters has built up, and I ran into battle, and I smashed the fuck out of Tweedledee and Tweedledum, and there's an I'll push it. There's one character I got Tweedledee, and I just smashed him against this air conditioner over and over again. I threw Tweedledum 20 feet into the air, man. I don't know if that
Did
goes,
you have
goes
the
to my
moment
shot.
where you threw Bloody Mary and she just kind of just dodged out the way like the Winter Soldier?
I didn't choose to throw him at Bloody Mary because I
Oh,
knew
okay.
it wouldn't. I threw him at the sign.
Now she did this dodge, man, and it was just like she didn't even like try. She just sidestepped and was like, "That the best you got."
See,
She ain't even
this is
scared as well. She's just looking on and nothing's going on.
this is the moment where me and you seriously. This shows our natures. I have Tweedledee up on the wall, and I know it's gonna say kill him or let him go. And at the moment, I'm torn. You know what I mean? Like I said to you earlier, I want to be that kind of nice guy who lets people go.
Yeah.
And then this motherfucker, this guy doesn't realize silence is golden. He says, "Fuck you, Wolf." And I'm like, you know what? I'm sick of people fucking insulting me. I'm gonna rip you the fuck up. I ripped into his throat, and Tweedledee died slowly. And I felt this thing where I was like, I am the motherfucking wolf, bitches. And I turned around, and Snow's there, shocked. And instantly, I felt bad for what I had done. Instantly, I was like, oh, fuck. And then, before I can even react, I get shot by a silver bullet. And this was beautiful for me. Like the way it was filmed, the way it is shown is beautiful for me. It reminds me of um I haven't seen the film fully, but I know at the end. You know, American Werewolf in London.
Oh, wicked movie that is.
There's that famous thing where he gets shot and he's there, and his girlfriend's there with him. It reminded me of that with Snow White by his side.
I know what I mean because it's just this fantastic moment where Bloody Mary is walking up to him and she gets the woodman's axe out of the car. She just gets
Hmm.
this axe and I'm like, how did you get the axe?
What happened to the woodsman?
She must have just picked it up
Hmm.
on from episode 1, and then it gives you an option to talk, and I pressed. I made Bigby say, as the hero dying, he's like, "Run,
Hmm.
run while you still can," and then Snow comes by his side, and then flipping the a wicked moment, man, and it shows you a great villain. It sets up the villain introduction, great. Don't even see his face, just see this hand, the window, and he like flicks his finger, and then Bloody Mary's like, "Well, you know." Looks like you get to live another day. She doesn't say that, but I'm paraphrasing.
Yeah, yeah.
She says something along those lines, and it kind of just ends with Bigby's kind of knocking on death's door.
Well, here's the thing that my theory: this storyline is not going to be resolved in this season because there's one more villain in this show. Apart from Crooked Man and her and Bloody Mary, there's one more villain. When she's walking away, she says, "Long live the Queen." And I have a theory that Queen is the Queen. I'm guessing it's the Queen from Snow White,
Oh,
and I'm
okay.
guessing that's why there's such a connection with Snow White because I think it's the Queen. And I reckon in my opinion, you can't solve them three villains in just 2 episodes. You can't do it. Bloody Mary is not a two. I don't think Bloody Mary should only be for the 2 episodes. I think this is going to be something that goes into season 2, this whole story arc. But the only problem with this episode was that, like you said, that middle bit. I didn't find it tiring. I just found
It
it
wasn't boring or anything. It was
that
too
urgency.
compact, and it was
Yes.
just like you didn't. I know we're running on a clock and everything, and because you had to get in time to the meeting, but it just felt like everything seemed so constricted, and it was like
So laid out.
yeah, and it was too linear. You know,
Hmm.
I did love. Don't get me wrong. I thought when I went to Crane's apartment, the artwork and his apartment was brilliant. It looked great, and there's some
Yes.
really great sequences. but it was too compact. So hopefully with the next 2 episodes, we get a bit more open up space, a bit more choice, a bit more varied locations, which gives you a bit more time to explore. That would be nice.
I really do hope so. I mean, like I said, I still think this is my favorite episode of the season. Best ending of the season,
It is, yeah, definitely.
the best ending of for episode of the season. My biggest worry now is that they're going to try and resolve this entire story in these next 2 episodes, and I don't think you can do that. I think this game needs a bit more room to breathe. So please don't fill in these characters, Crooked Man and Queen Mary getting killed off or whatever happens to them at the end of the season. That shouldn't happen. Um, I can guarantee there's going to be a scene with the witching well. I guarantee that because you haven't seen that. That's going to be somewhere. But as far as that, I'm really looking forward to episode 4. It'll probably launch in June, I'm guessing. But great episode, man. I mean, Wolf Among Us. This is one of my favorite games of the entire year.
Yeah, I mean, it's going strong, and that's the good thing about Telltale so far, except for 400 Days, which
Very lackluster that was, in my opinion.
it just should have been longer. But man, they're going strong with this. They're keeping it consistent. Yeah, it had its flaws, but we've got 3 episodes that have been really good so far. So hopefully they can keep it up and really up the ante with episodes 4 and 5, especially with how episode 3 has ended. We've
Great ending.
setting up the main villain. You've got a great villainess in Bloody Mary, and the whole mystery's still about, and and everyone's, it reminded me of that Empire Strikes Back kind of thing.
Yeah, it definitely had that kind of feeling.
It leaves you in that really bad place at the end of Act 2. It was just an overall great ending. One of the best endings that Telltale's actually done.
I just hope episode 4 is a bit more concentrated right now.
Hopefully,
And
a bit longer and a bit more expansive.
But I really do trust Telltale at this point. I can't wait for, obviously, the Walking Dead episode 3 is going to come next in probably, I'm guessing, this month. Next month in May, which I'm really looking forward to. We'll be reviewing that when that comes out.
Well,
But
I
yeah,
can still play it, man.
okay, I'll be reviewing that when it comes out. But no, I'm really excited for episode 4. I really hope that they just keep things going the way they're going. It's been a really consistent season, and I can't wait to play more. So if yeah, thank you.
Brilliant. Well, thank you guys for listening. Drop your comments. Give us a like if you want. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed. I have been Nathan Heskey,
I'm Dale Downton.
and this is the Honeydew Podcast. See you next time, folks.
Once more with feeling. Dance like there's no tomorrow.
Really, really good.